welcome once again to an episode of The Dark Place. I'm your host, Adam, and tonight we have a disturbing case. As always, The Dark Place is a podcast that delves into the chilling mysteries and unresolved cases that still haunt us today. Like I said, I'm your host, Adam, and in this episode, we will be exploring the tragic and baffling case of Tristyn Bailey. Before we begin, please go to all of our social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Spotify. Now, on a seemingly ordinary day in the peaceful town of St. John, Florida, the town was shattered by a horrifying discovery. The lifeless body of 13-year-old Tristyn Bailey was found in a remote area, sending shockwaves through the community and capturing the nation's attention. Now, if you know anything about Tristyn Bailey, she was known for her vibrant personality, her close-knit circle of friends, the love she showed and shared with everyone around her and everyone that knew her. But her life was tragically cut short, leaving her family, friends, and the entire town grappling with grief and disbelief. On the other hand, you have Aiden Fucci, a 14-year-old who has had regular encounters growing up where he has told many of his friends and his family that he would be doing something with his life, doing something violent. He was going to murder someone in his life. He would often sneak up behind his girlfriend and act like he was going to slit her throat. He would often tell his friends that he wants to murder someone, that it will give him some undying satisfaction, and that he knew that was his life goal. Now, Fucci is a 14-year-old boy who was accused of stabbing the 13-year-old cheerleader Tristyn Bailey to death with a hunting-style buck knife. A chilling snapshot of Fucci taken after Tristyn's death mentions the 7th grade girl. So, we'll set the scene as Aiden Fucci knew Tristyn Bailey. Aiden Fucci had a slight crush on Tristyn Bailey. Now, after Bailey's family returns home on Saturday, May 8th, around 11:45 p.m., Bailey's family members, they come back from a celebration. They're out, they're having a good time, they're enjoying each other's company, and then they all come back. They go to bed around midnight. Tristyn Bailey is last seen by her sibling and was supposed to be in bed sleeping. She sneaks out with Aiden Fucci. They go on a night walk together. So let's go by the timeline and we'll piece together what actually happens. Because at 12:30 on Sunday, May 9th, 2021, video shows Tristyn Bailey walking in the neighborhood. At 1:14 a.m., two people that are believed to be Tristyn and Aiden are seen walking together. Their surveillance video shows Tristyn and Aiden walking east in their neighborhood. Now at 3:30 a.m., the same surveillance footage shows Aiden Fucci walking back from Saddlestone Drive alone. He walked there with Tristyn about an hour and 45 minutes previously. He's walking back alone now. Aiden, he enters his home carrying white Nike sneakers. The night goes on. At 10 a.m., Tristyn's mother calls 911 to report her daughter missing, and the neighbors begin to search the area. Even the Florida Department of Law Enforcement put out a joint missing child alert to try to alert everyone we have a child missing. At 4:49 p.m., that's when the alert is issued for Tristyn. At 6:06 p.m., 2 hours into the search, a resident who had been running called because they stumbled upon a dead body in the woods east of the cul-de-sac on Saddlestone Drive. After identifying the body as Tristyn, the St. Johns County Sheriff's Department calls off the search. At 8:49, Aiden and his parents are placed in a St. Johns County Sheriff's Office interview room. So Aiden is seen on the surveillance footage as they're going through. He's brought in to being questioned. At 12:44 a.m., this is Sunday into Monday, May 10th, the investigators search Fucci's home. They find a Buck brand knife, a hunting knife, a pair of wet white Nike shoes with blood on them, and a white t-shirt also containing blood. There's a blue denim pair of jeans in the laundry basket. They also find blood and dirt samples in the bathroom sink next to Aiden's bedroom. At 3:30 a.m., Aiden is arrested on second-degree murder charges. At 11:30 a.m. that morning, the sheriff's office confirms the identity that was found is that of Tristyn Bailey, and they do announce the arrest of Aiden Fucci, a 14-year-old classmate, on charges of second-degree murder. So in this meantime, as Aiden is being arrested, he is somehow able to still have his cell phone in the back of the police vehicle. He makes a Snapchat, you can find it on YouTube, where he's saying, Tristyn, something to the effect, Tristyn, come out, no more hiding anymore, everyone's looking. So he makes this accusation as if it's a game, as if he knows that Tristyn is hiding and she wants this attention. So at 8:30 p.m. that day, a candlelit vigil honors Tristyn at the South Durban Crossing Center. Fucci is charged with second-degree murder, but after learning that he had previously told his friends that he would drag someone into the woods and murder them, they upped it to first-degree murder. Tristyn Bailey's body was stabbed 114 times. 45 of those stab wounds were defense wounds. She was trying to fight back, trying to put her hands up to stop this psychopath murderer, Aiden Fucci. Aiden Fucci was detained for 21 days before his first court appearance. And they obviously they wanted to put in a recommendation for him to get some psychiatric evaluation, which he did. And from the research that I've been able to find, there has been no history of any mental illness in Aiden Fucci. Now, later on, when he is, you can also find this on YouTube. Later on, he is being detained. He's in the jail cell and he's speaking to one of his lawyers on the phone. He's acting spaced out, like he doesn't really know where he is. He's saying he's hearing demons, hearing voices. In my opinion, he is trying to get off on insanity and only be committed to a mental health facility institution, I guess, so to speak. Thursday, May 20th, the judge approves motions be held on the parents of the 14-year-old suspect. And on the 27th is when Fucci is officially charged with first-degree murder. Now, this is an interesting tidbit. Crystal Lane Smith, which is Aiden Fucci's mother, is also arrested on a warrant charging her with tampering with evidence following the killing of Tristyn Bailey. Now, she tampered with the evidence because if you go back and you watch some of the interrogation, the parents don't want Aiden to speak to the officers. However, instead of getting the lawyer to speak for them, they begin speaking, not realizing that they're being recorded. Now, there's a couple of discrepancies in the report. Aiden says something about him having jeans on. His mother says, wait, well, no, you didn't. You had on this colored slacks, tan slacks. She's also charged tampering with evidence because she's also scrubbed some of the blood off of Aiden's clothing, his shirt, and those very same jeans and Nike shoes. In the newly released documents, I touched upon this earlier, one of Fucci's friends said he talked about killing people frequently. And just the weeks before Tristyn's killing, like I said, Fucci said he planned to murder someone by dragging a random person into the woods and stabbing them, which he did. Crystal Lane, his mother, pleads not guilty July 26th, and so the court continues. He's found guilty, obviously. First-degree murder charge. He is charged as an adult due to the fact of the heinous stabbing of the victim. So, what happens as I'm going through this timeline, I'm doing this episode a little differently, is that Aiden Fucci had a history of saying deplorable things. He had a history of wanting to do harmful things out of the satisfaction that he thought that he would get if he murdered someone. He wanted to murder a random person, drag them into the woods, and commit a heinous crime and a heinous act to fulfill that urge that he so claimed that he had. That person so happened to be Tristyn Bailey, an outgoing, smart, charismatic, lovable 13-year-old girl. Aiden talks Tristyn into sneaking out. Let's go to the woods. Let's smoke a little bud, get high a little bit, and go on. Now, Aiden does change his story because to begin with, he says that exactly that. He said they weren't together. Then the video footage came up. Then he said, yes, we went there. We went to the woods. We smoked together. And I made an advance and tried to kiss her. She rejected me. I pushed her down. Didn't see if she got back up. And I left. That's what he says. What he didn't say, if any of that is true, is that she rejected his advances. He became angry and stabbed her. But this was premeditated, I do believe. And I think the research supports this hypothesis, as does drawings of satanic figures. They later found drawings of him stabbing women very misogynistic drawings. He had a history of wanting to kill someone, wanting to murder someone. Would often sneak up, like I said, behind his girlfriend, act like he's going to slice her throat. He had 2 knives. I wish I had the names beside of them, but he had named the knives. Poker was one of them, and then the other one had another name. But he talked about these knives so much that his friends knew when he called them their said name, what he was talking about. His friends later said, you never really think somebody is going to do that you know, because he's just a kid. Kids say things. This kid said things. But this kid carried out those horrific acts. Aiden Fucci is now currently in a correctional facility. He will be spending at least 24 years behind bars before he has a possibility of parole. Tristyn Bailey's mother took the stand and told how she would never, ever get to see her daughter in another play. How her father would never get to walk his daughter down the aisle. How she would never, ever get to live a life because it was taken so shortly by this demented, psychotic teenager named Aiden Fucci. There's no doubt that Aiden Fucci may have had a troubled life that no one knew about. The documents and research that I've found do not point to that. He was from a loving home. He was from a caring parents. What was wrong? Was he born evil? Did something turn him that way? Because ever since the records show, Aiden Fucci had blood and murder and carnage on his mind. I do not believe this would have been a one-time thing. If Aiden Fucci had been able to get away with this crime, I do believe he would have done it again and again and again. Aiden Fucci was very emotionless, his girlfriend and friend said. He didn't show empathy for others. All he wanted to do was fulfill that taste of blood and murder. 114 times he stabbed 13-year-old Tristyn Bailey. Can you imagine that? The rage, the pure psychotic rage. Just stop what you're doing for a moment, and whatever you have in your hand, just do in a stabbing motion 114 times. Now, as you're doing that, think about somebody fighting back, pushing you back, fighting for their life. The blade marks, cuts on her hands, on her legs, from kicking and trying to get away. Aiden Fucci is where he belongs 100%. And Aiden Fucci would have murdered had he not been caught. There's no doubt in my mind. There's zero doubt in my mind. Is there pure justice? He's in jail. He's in prison. Does that make the family feel any better? Does that make them miss their daughter any less? Just because their killer is behind bars, I'm sure there's not a day that goes by that they don't think of their daughter or their sister or their friend, Tristyn. Once again, this is such a sad and devastating case. This is one of the more recent cases that we've done. And I think it flew a little bit under the radar due to the fact that COVID was happening. Let us always keep an eye out or an ear out for anything that we think could be suspicious in someone that we love and someone that we just happen to pass by. Aiden's classmates, had they said something earlier, could they have prevented anything? I don't know. But they did, several of them, try to start a Free Aiden hashtag on Instagram. A lot of the social medias that they were doing that in got shut down. And the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office was very aware that was going on. As we conclude tonight's episode, we always need to remember those that have passed or have been murdered, and not give any glory to those that have committed these heinous acts, but just use those acts as a way for us to maybe gain insight to prevent it in the future. I'm Adam with The Dark Place. Have a good night.